This is the Mountain Prairie Podcast. I'm Ed Roberson. This is a completely different kind of episode featuring a fun and at times crazy conversation with my two daughters, Janie and Louise. Back in June, we were eating dinner when out of the blue, both girls expressed an enthusiastic interest in being guests on the podcast. So the next day, we set up the podcast gear at our dining room table, sat down, and had what I thought was a very funny conversation. Both girls were surprisingly relaxed and acting pretty naturally despite having microphones jammed up in their faces. And I thought that the conversation highlighted their personalities, curiosities, and senses of humor. But I fully understand and admit that I'm about as biased as any human can be when it comes to these two girls. So you can take my opinion with a grain of salt. As you'll hear, we jammed a lot of crazy topics into 30 minutes, including camping, what makes for an ideal campground, their understanding of conservation, violin, rock climbing, jiu-jitsu, North Carolina versus the American West, the Biltmore House, silly 19th century rules about girls wearing bathing suits in public, Costa Rica, Alcatraz, drunk people, earthquakes and tsunamis, our favorite secret spot in Colorado, favorite books, some commentary on my choice of shirts and underwear, and more topics you probably never thought you'd hear on Mountain Prairie. I also asked them each to prepare a question to ask me, and one of those questions involved the unexpected topic of me getting into a fight with a wild animal, which is admittedly a subject I'd never really thought much about. Anyway, I appreciate you humoring me with this episode. It was fun for the girls, fun for me, and my wife Kim and I will be happy to have this audio time capsule years from now, when both of the girls are out of the house, living their own lives, and having their own adventures. Next week, we'll be back to the normal episodes featuring grown-ups. I've got a great lineup of conversations coming your way, including a deep dive into Aldo Leopold's life and work, a conversation with a Canyonlands conservation and cowgirl and ranching legend, and live interviews from the Old Salt Festival. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you get a few chuckles out of this conversation with Janie and Louise. All right, ladies. What's so funny? All right. You, the big one. Identify yourself. What's your name?
Janie.
How old are you?
9.
Where do you live?
Colorado Springs.
You, little. Who are you?
Louise.
And how old are you?
6.
And where do you live?
Colorado Springs.
So why did y'all want to do this? We were having dinner last night, and we were talking about podcast stuff. And I'd thrown this idea out before, and then all of a sudden y'all both got really excited about podcast. First of all, what do you think a podcast is?
It's like someone makes it, and then people get to listen to it. And sometimes people have to practice, and some people don't.
That's a good explanation. What do you, if you had to describe Mountain Prairie, what Mountain Prairie is? Well, how would you describe it? Like you could either talk about some of the people that have been on it, or what kind of stuff I talk about.
You have been on it.
I have, probably too much, right? I feel sorry for all the listeners. Oh my gosh, yellow. All right, Janie, how would you describe Mountain Prairie?
It's about the West, and you've had Nick Offerman, Teal Blake, the jail people.
Oh, that was a different podcast, but I did have people from the jail on. That was interesting. Teal Blake wrote that book that y'all like so much, the Jackalope book.
Oh yeah, J is for Jackalope.
J is for that's and Teal's
J
book.
Is also for Janie.
Janie the Jackalope. All right, so I wanted to ask y'all just some questions because I grew up, as you know, in North Carolina. Very flat. I spent a lot of my time like at the beach, and it was very hot and humid. And y'all spent most of your whole life in the big mountains. And so, Janie, I'm going to start with you. What's your first memory of outdoor stuff? Like whether that's when we lived, because when you were born in Boulder, could have been hiking around Boulder, could be some of our first camping trips. Like when you think about the outdoors, what's some of your first memories?
I think about when it was snowing and it was 4 degrees and my mitten fell off. Or when we went skiing and we left my mittens in the car or on the street or something because I dropped them and then they got stolen.
Oh, in BV that time. But then you got those nice new OR gloves, so that kind of worked out for you. Louie, what do you think about when you think about outdoor stuff? Like, what's some of your earliest memories of being outdoors?
When I think of being outdoors, I think of going camping. And when I was with Caroline, we were walking across this place, and then she fell in.
Oh, in a creek?
Yeah. And I remember that campsite, and I loved campsite too. And I don't remember, but I remember, well, you guys still talk about the man brushing his teeth, squirting the toothpaste in his mouth, and then he's brushing it. No, Louise, he puts toothpaste on all over his mouth, not even on his teeth. On those 6-year molars. No, he was like 25, not 6 years. But he gets 6 minutes.
That guy and his buddies, that was a perfect example of what you don't do when you're at a campground, because they were up till like 3 a.m. yelling and screaming and laughing. And then we go look over there in the morning, and he's next to the public water supply, basically giving himself a bath. And then he starts brushing his teeth, and it looked like a cartoon character with all it's like suds coming out.
He was foaming at the mouth.
He looked like a rabid raccoon. Yeah, that's what you don't want to do when you're camping. So when y'all think about like camping and camp, like campsites, the kind of places you want to go camping, what's like if you could design your ideal campsite, what would it be like?
I'd make it good for everyone, like people in wheelchairs, and like instead of stairs, like
a ramp.
Yeah, and there aren't too much campsites, and it lets wildlife around.
Oh, lots of wildlife around.
Yeah.
What, even bears?
No. Like deers and rabbits.
Yeah. I think that'd be good. Janie, anything to add to that?
I do it in a place where there aren't much campsites, like Florida or something. Or where, like, no tornadoes or earthquakes would happen.
Yeah, well, we're in luck where we go. Generally not a bunch of tornadoes in the mountains or earthquakes.
And when you're first making it, make sure no one really wanted that land for something else.
That's a good way to think about it. All right, both you girls do a ton of cool activities. I feel like you've sampled a bunch over your lives, and you've kind of you found some stuff that you like doing. Can you tell me a bit about some of your favorite activities? They could be outdoors, could be indoors, whatever. Just like, what do you like to do, Louie?
I like playing badminton, tennis, 2-square.
What about the activity where we take you downtown, where you go?
Climbing.
Talk about climbing, because that's cool. I would have done anything to be able to. I bought, when I was a little kid, I bought a bunch of ropes and stuff, and I would like rappel out of the trees. I rappelled out of my second-story window at my house. It was very dangerous. And it was dangerous at the time. And then I realized when I learned how to tie knots and rig up climbing equipment just how dangerous it was. And one time I got caught. The neighbor ratted me out for rappelling out of my second-story window. But Louie, so tell me about rock climbing. Like, what's it like? So
I used to be scared just going like 1 inch above the ground, and because it was so scary going down. But now going down is like my favorite part.
So for people who've never done like an auto belay at a climbing gym, you climb up to the top. You when you finally get to the point at the top, then how do you get down? Explain how you get down.
You hold onto the rope if like you're really scared or you feel insecure with your hand just laying down.
Yep. And
then pretend like you're on a hot air balloon. That's kind of weird, but yeah. A hot air balloon. Going down, and if you're very light, like I was when I first did it, just pretend there's the ground right below you, and just let it go, and close your eyes, and before you know it, you'll be done.
So it just lowers you down pretty easy. So can you talk to me a bit about when you were learning? Because I remember when you first started, you were scared to go, like you'd get maybe 10 feet off the ground, you'd be scared. How did you eventually get to the point where you were not scared and you go 50 feet in the sky? Like how did you push through being scared?
I pretended the floor was following me, or the floor was like right below me.
Okay.
And I pretended there was going to be no going down. So I went higher each time. And then after I was like confident I could do it, I just climbed up to the top.
Well, it's very impressive. Are there any lessons there, like when you think about that kind of deciding, all right, I'm gonna pretend, I'm gonna make kind of make up my mind that I'm gonna do this? Like, are you proud of yourself for figuring that out?
Yes.
You should be. Janie, can you talk about your activity of choice?
Violin.
Violin. So how long have you been playing the violin?
A little over a year, I think.
Yeah, you played for a while. I think it was around the time of the pandemic, maybe, and then we took a break. But you've been going hard for about a year and a quarter, I think. What do you like about violin?
How hard it is.
Can you explain that? Because I think that's really cool, and that's one of the things I've admired about how you've done it. Is it is very hard, and then it's hard to practice, but then it's hard to get up there in front of all those people for the recital. So why do you? Some people don't like hard stuff. Why do you like hard stuff?
Because when I finally get it, I'm proud of myself. Like when you took a video of me practicing minuet too, and it sounded horrible, and then you took a video of me doing it after, and I sounded so good.
Isn't that crazy? Because I remember you would get a little bit frustrated sometimes at the beginning. You're like, I'm never gonna figure this out. And I was like, you always do. If you just put in the effort, you will. And so I wanted to show you, and so I'm glad you remember that. Can you talk a bit about how you practice? Because when I used to play, Mama and Didi made me do piano lessons, or encouraged me to do piano lessons, and I would never practice. And then the day of the lesson, I would practice for like 2 hours, and I never got good. Talk about how you practice, because I think that's the key.
I practice basically every day, and
for how long?
Like 30 minutes. And I have 4 books. Shifting. Yeah, I'm working on shifting, which is where you move your hand to a new position. And you just do the books and you focus on it.
What do you think?
What's all your books? Minuet. No, not Minuet. No. Suzuki book 1. 2 mini books that are with mini songs. And then 1 book for shifting.
That's really cool. And one more thing about violin. What do you think when it's time for a recital and you got to go up there and stand in front of all those people and do your thing? Like, how do you feel when you walk in there?
The first time for my first recital, it was way bigger than I thought. And I was second. And so I was just really scared because the first girl forgot part of her song, and I was scared that was going to happen to me.
And you've never done a recital before? Never even been to a recital before, right?
But I started before the piano guy started, and I was really embarrassed. But then my second recital, I played it perfectly, even though it was really hard. And then, was that the one where that guy kept doing the overlook? Yeah. And then my third recital, I forgot most of the song because I was very nervous, but...
Well, the thing I thought was so cool about that, you didn't forget most of it. You went through it. No, but there were a few little bumps here and there. But the thing that I thought was the coolest about that was that you didn't get rattled. You stayed calm. At least I couldn't see. I mean, you might have been in your head, but I was watching you, and you just stayed calm, and you kept working through it. And I feel like I told you after that, sometimes it's like when we went on that bike ride today, and we were talking about the stuff you remember is a lot of times they say it's not an adventure until something goes wrong. Like, I bet you'll remember that recital more than you'll remember like a perfect one where you just zoom through it and you're like, oh, big deal.
That was my second recital. Yeah. I did it perfectly.
And so, like, as you do more and more of these things, I think that's going to be the one where you got more benefit, I would guess. But you're the violin pro.
Speaking of violin, you always say, monkey grip. Monkey grip.
Yeah. Do y'all have any? Y'all got a few questions for me? I got more questions for you, but if you got any questions for me,
how many podcasts do you think you've done in your whole life?
Oh, well, I think Mountain Prairie.
Yeah,
I've done like 230 of them, but then I did another podcast for Ranchlands for like a year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I probably did. That's the one where I went to the prison, interviewed the prisoners that y'all were talking about. And that was like 30 episodes. So,
how much do you think you've done in your like whole entire life?
Probably
230 plus 30 equals 260.
That's
so
a lot.
260. Maybe more.
It could be more. Well, I've done some interviews in front of like audiences that were not recorded for the podcast. So interviews is probably even more. What else? Any more questions?
Me. What is the smallest animal you would lose to in a fight?
Oh. I mean, like,
that jumped out at you.
Like a bobcat.
Rosie was a bobcat.
Rosie, I wouldn't want to fight Rosie.
Hey, like, if someone was British, they'd say a boob cat.
I'd say, a mountain lion's probably some of them are probably only 100 pounds, and that would be that thing would have no problem taking me out.
You'd be in a fight with that, and then the boob cat would be coming.
All right, you got any other questions? Oh, I got a question for y'all. So we talked a bit, both of y'all talked about you with climbing, you with violin, how you like how hard it is. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I like doing. I like doing hard stuff. I don't like it in the moment, but I'm always glad I did it. And so the other night, so y'all have seen me do a bunch of hard stuff. A few years back, y'all were there when I finished, you were there at the 100-miler. When I ran.
You were so grumpy.
Yeah. Was I grumpy like at the end?
Yeah, at the end. I just want to go to bed. And then Louise broke the toilet.
Oh, that was an Airbnb.
Flooded. Oh, and speaking of hard work, when it was Janie's birthday and we were going to that place,
the slide place.
Yeah. There's this like beanbag thing at the bottom.
That was scary.
Yeah, and we jumped off onto it, and we both got hurt once, but then we stopped doing it because it hurt.
Well, you learned your lesson, right?
And if we didn't do it, I don't know if we'd be doing this right now, and I'm happy we are.
Yeah, I'm happy y'all doing this too. What did y'all think the other night when you went to my marathon roll at jiu-jitsu and watched that?
I thought you were crazy.
Why?
I thought your face was going to explode. It was so red.
You look like a tomato. I wanted to eat you.
No, you look like a sunburned tomato.
So what did y'all think of all that fighting?
Like a raw tomato.
Did it make you nervous seeing your daddy out there fighting like that?
I thought you were going to break your nose like a dude did or something.
Yeah.
And then you were on the ground and he was like holding your leg in your private part. Like,
please, you're just...
No, holding me down?
No, holding your leg in his private part. Yeah, that's what it was.
Isn't that crazy, though? You see these grown men out there fighting like that, grabbing, rolling them.
One girl.
And the guy who said, thanks for sharing with us.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.
Everybody, that wasn't that a nice group of people?
Mm-hmm.
Although y'all heard some bad words. While you were
Although this guy had like a redder face than you did. It looked like it was in the sun. Like,
No,
One
it
of the
looked
other
like
guys.
me when I held my breath for too long.
What were the takeaways there of seeing your daddy? Was there any lessons, or was it just too crazy?
To never do jiu-jitsu in my whole life.
Louis done a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
yeah,
You like it? That's part of the deal.
I can tackle you.
No, you can't. I'm bigger than you.
Well, I can tackle Mama.
She's even bigger than you.
I did this thing to her.
Yeah, double leg takedown or something.
Yeah, and then so she got on me. I put my legs and hands around her neck, flipped her over, then, whew, I was finished.
Wait, did you say then, whoo, I was finished?
Yeah, I meant, boo. Chicken. I mean, I don't know what I meant.
All right, I got a few more questions. One, you remember my job used to be before I started doing the podcast?
Palmer Landress.
Yeah, I was there. What do you think I did at Palmer, like when I was
Do
there?
jiu-jitsu?
No,
That'd be
Louise.
cool.
What? I don't know what you did. I wasn't alive then.
I
Yeah, you
know.
were. What?
It was land conservation.
And what does that mean?
It means taking care of the land.
And so, like, give me an example.
Like stopping people from building houses on places.
Yep.
And, like, stopping people from taking down forests. Because just to make houses or cities.
Yep.
Because that's where some things live. It's like if they took down your house.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. No, that's true. You know Red Rock Canyon where we go hiking all the time?
Yeah.
That place is protected by Palmer. It's called a conservation easement, so nobody can ever build houses there. But think about if that whole place was nothing but a bunch of houses.
Well, who would build houses on rocks that are like 100 feet vertical?
And
They figured
also-
out. Somebody who can make a lot of money doing it.
If it said, like, do not turn this land into
Houses.
or cities, then someone broke the law, then they killed like 1,000 animals,
Oh,
they definitely go to prison. Like the prison in the middle of the ocean.
Alcatraz?
Yeah.
That'd be rough. All right, one or two more. When you think about your favorite place to go, not like going back to North Carolina or going to Tarboro or anything like that, but like out here in the West, like in Colorado or Arizona or New Mexico, what's your favorite? Some of your favorite places?
I like Asheville.
And that's North Carolina.
That is in North Carolina.
What was the talk about? What did you think about Asheville versus where we live here? How did it feel?
Green.
Very green.
I like seeing all the bamboo.
Oh yeah.
And the Biltmore House.
Yeah, Biltmore House is awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
But also
How
too big.
they get lost. Well,
In that
at least
house?
I
I
get
would.
lost in that house. I'd bring like a whistle with me wherever I go.
Yeah,
House
like
is too
blow
big.
it. I bring the backpack just in case I lost my water or anything. And
What about
girls
Colorado?
can't walk around the house with bathing suits on.
That was weird.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that girls couldn't walk around the house with bathing suits
Yes,
on.
they can.
Can you imagine? You just change into a bathing suit and walk around the Biltmore house.
What if you showed up for a tour and wearing a bathing suit?
When if you went to the bowling alley in a bathing suit, but instead of you balled your bathing suit up, so then you're naked and you knock out all the pins.
You are so inappropriate.
Yes,
Louise. I
sometimes
can't deal with it.
What's your
just
favorite
deal
place
with
in
it.
Colorado?
Colorado, not Arizona or New Mexico or anywhere.
Well, it could be Arizona, it could be New Mexico. Colorado.
In New Mexico, it's Santa Fe. In Arizona, it's Flagstaff because that's the only place I've been in Arizona.
You went to the Grand Canyon. That's not necessarily Flagstaff.
Well, then the Grand Canyon.
And then what about
Colorado.
Colorado Springs.
No, where we live.
Good. It's where I was born, so that's why I like it.
Probably.
What about the secret? We're not going to say the name of it.
Yeah,
but
the secret place.
The
That's my
secret
favorite
town where we go.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
can't
the
tell
secret
anybody.
town where we go.
But
That's
we go
my
there
favorite
for 1
place.
week every summer and
That's
talk about.
spilling the beans,
We're not
Daddy.
go- no, nobody knows where it is.
And I love when we go
Talk. You can talk about
down
it. Just don't say the
the
name. Of it.
river.
Yeah, we'll float on the river from our
And then
cabin to
if
town.
no one stops us, we'll go to the beach.
The little beach down there.
What?
Oh, all the way to the beach, like the real beach.
Yeah, the
Well,
beach.
you have to go over several dams to do that.
Yes.
No, we'll have to go over the gigantic waterfall.
Yeah, we
That'd
would.
be scary.
That would be scary. What else do you like doing in that town?
Putt-putt.
Putt-putt.
Putt-putt. And remember when we were going putt-putt and it was closed because of the rain? Then we drove away. But then the guy saw us and he made it open for us. And we were like, ooh, let's go putt-putt.
And then right as we finished, the lightning came down, and we were holding metal sticks.
We got out of there.
Eek.
Last question for y'all. I always ask people on the podcast their favorite books, and y'all read.
What if rafters?
Hold on just a second. Y'all read more than about anybody I've ever seen. Too bad you're not playing around on the iPad all day, right? What's your favorite book?
What if rafters? Good as gold.
Good as Gold. What's it about?
It's about these.
Goldilocks.
It's about these people that go into fairy tales, and they always mess it up. And on the front cover it says, "They need to get it right this time."
And what about your nature books? They're not favorite books to read, but like your mammal book, your wildflower book.
I like chipmunks.
Yeah.
Pikas.
Yes, I was glad to say that. I like. What was that one called that we found?
It was some kind of wallflower.
Yeah.
That was fun when we identified. We had a hard time figuring that out.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, that was...
yellow wallflower.
Yeah, I think that's right. So we figured that out.
I like the yellow wallflower.
That's pretty good, I think.
And, well, I like all of them, but if someone said that you have to choose, I choose well.
Okay. Janie, what's your favorite book?
Ninth Ward.
Ooh.
What's the other one called? Number the Stars. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
it.
Man, those are heavy books.
I like reading ninth grade
Wait,
books.
You're
Echo?
working
Did
very
you
hard
like
as you read.
Echo?
Oh, yeah, Echo. It was like an
That was like
2
500
inches
pages,
thick.
wasn't it?
It was 586 pages.
Nice. You did great. All right, ladies,
5,000.
you got any other questions for me?
How old are you? Just kidding. I already know that you're 46.
That's right, 46.
How much jobs have you had in your life?
So I started, my first job was at Merrill Lynch.
Where's that?
It's a big company, like a bank. I did that.
Oh, and speaking of jobs, what was the one when you screamed at the kids and you were a teacher?
When was that?
He was never a teacher.
You said like you screamed at kids sometimes.
That was probably at like Seagull or
No,
whatever.
I never screamed it. There was a time when I had to proctor some tests at some school in Costa Rica. It was an American school in Costa Rica, and
Wait, why is there an American school?
because there are a bunch of Americans who lived there. But this was a school, and so I got roped into proctoring a test there, and the kids were real punks. But I didn't scream at them. I hadn't screamed at anybody in a long time.
In a long time. When did he scream at someone?
Probably the last time I screamed at somebody was a drunk guy in Costa Rica. That bothered me.
That
And remember in that video you showed us that your friend was like whacking those cows?
That was the guy I
that
screamed
was
at.
the drunk guy.
Yeah, he was a drunk guy. He was a complete alcoholic.
I want to go to Costa Rica.
We will. We'll go. I want you all to see that.
I hope there isn't an avalanche or whatever.
Why would there be an
I mean, not
avalanche in
an-
Earthquake?
Costa
I mean,
Rica?
not an avalanche.
There was one time when Mom and I were there.
Why would there be an avalanche in Costa Rica?
What's the thing that's
Earthquake.
involved? Yeah. Oh, no.
Those are two very different things.
Tsunami?
The
Flood.
thing involved with water.
Yeah, tsunami.
Flood.
Okay.
Or a tidal wave.
Tidal wave.
That'd be fun. We go surf it, right?
No.
And we surfed to the other side of the beach.
All right.
To the other side of the world.
Any other questions? Any comments? Any words of wisdom?
Yes, I have a comment.
Yes.
Your whole your shirt has a...
That shirt has a massive hole in it.
Yes.
That's nothing.
Your boxers, some boxers I've seen you and have holes in them.
Yeah.
Please, why do you comment on that?
All right, ladies. I love y'all. I'm very proud of you. You're very funny.
Why do you have
Very
to
smart.
say that right now? You can say it later.
We're right
Chill,
across the
bro.
table from
All right,
you.
y'all are screaming now. All right,
Chill,
ladies.
Bowski.
Thank you for joining me.